So when we look at this, particularly at this age group, there's a limited attention span, and then they really learn through repetition and play. They tend to be egocentric, and they're beginning to understand cooperation, but obviously you don't want to take their toy by any means. And then physically, they're trying to develop motor skills, balance, and coordination. The reality is that we can really do a great job using the game to teach these things. But what we have to look at is what they learn in particular, what's important to them specifically at this age. And first, really simply, they have to learn what a ball is. Because at this age, it's all about the ball. It's like a magnet attracting their attention. So you can think of it as the toy that every player wants to play with. This is really important. They can learn what the ball is, what the ball does, and then what the player can do with the ball, and of course, what direction I can move the ball in. And this may seem super simple. Hopefully it does, because a game facilitator has to keep things simple so we can have people involved in the game helping kids play at a simple level. So a really big part of this is there's been a bunch of research done now that if we reduce the game from 11v11 down to 2v2 or 3v3, it actually provides the perfect environment for this. It keeps players engaged, it provides them opportunities to shoot, pass, or dribble a ball towards the opposing goal when their team has the ball, or press, challenge, and block the ball in front of their own goal when the team doesn't. And it's pretty obvious because players will play right where the ball is. They can't resist the ball. And this is this bumblebee swarm thing. And we have to resist our needs to tell them not to do that. This is really important. This is how they learn. They want the ball. Remember, they're egocentric. So we want them to learn to go after it. And by putting them in little 2v2s, as an example, it gives them plenty of opportunity to not always have it or have it and have the opportunity to move it in the direction it's supposed to go. So here's the big thing. They're actually learning by interacting with the game specifically about what the ball can do. For example, they can learn that we play with the ball in a field with boundaries. They learn that the ball cannot be played with their hands. They learn that there's two goals and in which one they need to score on and one that needs to be protected. They learn that there's teammates that can potentially help them do this, although they don't always do that all the time. And then they learn that there are opponents that certainly don't want them to do that. They can learn that when challenging for the ball, pushing and pulling isn't allowed, and that they have to kick the ball and not their opponent. Oftentimes that's not intentional, but it's part of the process that deserves attention. And these are all guardrails for the players to learn how to play with the ball. It's really simple. It's their metaphorical playground or sandbox that they get to play in. The way they get to play with the ball is really simple. They have little player actions that are predominant, and that's shooting, passing, and dribbling as an example when they're attacking, and when they're defending, it's pressing, challenging, and blocking. And those also serve as the language you can use to work with your respective players. So keeping it super simple again. So put simply, they can learn to play soccer by playing soccer, even if their attention is mostly directed towards the ball. So what this means for the game facilitator and what's really important is that the player's learning activity is what you facilitate. It's the game. You just have to make sure they're safely playing and enjoying the game, and learning will logically take place. It provides them an opportunity to help learn what the ball is, what the ball does, and what the player can do with the ball, and of course, in what direction the ball should go. It keeps their focus and enjoyment on participation and not perfection. You can think of it this way. They're all active kids, which means they're engaged kids. There's no lines and long waits. We don't have to worry about complicated drills and things like that. Ultimately, let them be a little bee swarm that's trying to go for the ball and learn within that. And here's where these things are fun. Because they only have predominant actions, we can actually help direct their attention with how they use the ball using those actions. So for example, just by saying great shot instead of great job, you're directing their attention with specificity towards what they did with the ball. So shooting, passing, dribbling, great pass. Oh, you did a great job taking on that player with your dribble. There's all kinds of different things that you can do with your voice to help essentially reaffirm what they're learning when they're in the game and using the ball. You can also clearly encourage effort, which is pretty exciting. So instead of saying something like, you didn't score or it's got to go in a certain direction, you can say, hey, that was a great choice to shoot towards the opposing goal. So you can still praise effort just as much as praising outcome, which is a great thing. When the ball goes out of bounds, it gives us an opportunity to help direct attention. There's multiple ways to restart play. There's two specifically. One is you can use the coach to use a new ball that we would roll in to let them play, and you would roll it into a specific player or into specific space on the field, or you can use passing or dribbling. The great thing about using passing or dribbling is that you can start to stress the choice to choose to pass or to choose to dribble. So that's another way to reinforce learning within the environment. One of the obvious things is that sometimes players will kick one another when challenging for the ball. This is a great opportunity to recognize that they will fall, they will get hurt, but it's just a matter of helping them step in the right direction and go in the right direction, picking them back up and make sure they're kicking the ball and not kicking their teammates. You really think of the rules as being reinforced or enforced when the kids can no longer enforce themselves. That's really the moment to step in. But at the end of the day, it really is a safe environment, just sticking to the way the game works. Sometimes players will lose attention, and that's also a reality as well. Restarts are a wonderful opportunity to help redirect that particular player. The next time the ball goes out of the bounds, give them the chance to restart play by saying you can choose to pass or dribble, for example. Or the next time the ball goes out of play and you're using new ball, roll the ball to that particular player to get them re-engaged. And of course, someone will inevitably pick the ball up with their hands. Again, another chance to restart play and putting focus back on the actions that take place in the game: shooting, passing, dribbling, challenging, blocking, pressing. So when we look at this, really at the end of the day, we're trying to facilitate learning. And these things all impact the player's learning as long as they're in place. And it's just simple choices that the club can help, or the coach, or in this case, a game facilitator, can change to start to foster player behavior. For example, having two players versus two players gives more opportunity for a player to touch the ball. Players brand new to the game benefit from playing 2v2, whereas players that have experienced 2v2 and tend to be engaged could progress to playing 3v3 as an example. Oops. Next piece is the size of field that we use. For example, if we play 2v2 versus 3v3, in a 2v2 or 3v3 environment, they're going to be slightly different in sizes. We'll provide you with resources for that. But one of the keys that we do is provide you with two different color goals. These help with direction and helping put the teams and players know which direction to go. The interesting thing is also is we provide a 4-goal option. And this is wonderful to start to emphasize shooting in particular. You'll see once 4 goals are added, more shooting can take place. You want that to be a natural evolution for your players when they stop kicking the ball and start shooting the ball. So it's a wonderful opportunity to evolve from 3v3 to 2 goals, where dribbling and passing are predominant, to then adding in more shooting by adding those 4 goals. Again, that field will be slightly bigger and we'll provide tools for that. That's a really nice way to help serve the players as they continue to learn the game. And of course, with restarts, the option of a new ball where a coach chooses, or excuse me, the game facilitator chooses to pass the ball in with their hands and roll it out to a player, or the pass or dribble in. You can consider this with the new ball as being something that's great for when players are brand new to the game and redirecting their attention. Whereas when players have had a chance to experience the game, progressing to pass or dribble in gives them the opportunity to make a choice when coming into the field of play.